what really helped me was getting outside of myself, understanding that there's something much greater than me out there.
What did you find that was much greater than you out there?
The Creator.
How did you find the Creator?
The Creator found me. You know,
Yeah.
How many times I was in like near death situations, or even I even flatlined when I was 16.
Really?
Yeah, you know, and it's light. It's light. When you cross over, it's just light, and it's not. I've said this so many times. You know, they say your life flashes before your eyes. It's not your life.
Okay.
You see the beginning, the creation of it all. You fly. I flew through the galaxies, through the stars. It was amazing. It was beautiful, and then it's just light. So many times where it could have went this way or that way. How can I not believe in a Creator? Everything is so specific. Everything is so detailed. Look at this world. Look at the beauty. Yeah.
Man, I want to understand your experience of it, though. I mean, like, first of all, you were saying when you were 16, this near-death experience. Like, what was it?
Oh.
Hello, friends. In this episode, I sit down with Mike Shimonov. Mike has a fascinating story of overcoming a bad habit with drugs, as he put it. Additionally, at one point, he was a hustler. This is a absolutely riveting story. We get into the heart of Mike's journey and how he found the strength to leave that lifestyle. I hope you guys enjoy it. Be sure that you are subscribed across all platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen, and on Instagram. Finally, there's a Patreon available, and to support the podcast, you can book a session at the Men's Therapy Studio, links in the description. After this, be sure that you check out the episode that I did with Mike Shimonov on Slocky Stool, where we talk about mental health in the Bukharian community. That episode will also be in the description. Enjoy. Welcome to the podcast, man.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for having me, man.
Of course, I'm excited to speak with you. I am a therapist, working in the Bukharian community. I guess really just as a person that cares about the community and somebody that has had experiences where people that I knew were affected by substances and drugs. When I met you on Slocky Stool and I heard your story that you overcame an addiction with opiates, I just really wanted to talk to you and understand that story, because to me, I feel like it's so rare to have that type of addiction and then be able to overcome it. So, like, first of all, I think you're an incredibly strong person that I really look up to, honestly.
Thank you, man.
And I want to hear your story. I mean, so first of all, like, how long ago were you on the opiates?
It's been almost 7 years of sobriety off the opiates.
Off the opiates?
Yeah. I'm 38 now. It's at 31. I got cleaned up my act. And so, yeah.
So 7 years of sobriety?
In September, it's going to be 7 years.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah, it's around Rosh Hashanah time.
How are you feeling about that, first of all?
Fantastic. Fantastic. And I'm also talking about it publicly because it puts, it kind of holds me more accountable, because now it's out there. It's going to be out there. So I'm excited about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for you, man.
Yeah, thanks, man.
So, I mean, take me to it. Like, how would you say addicted were you? I don't even know how to phrase it, but like...
All right. It was pretty bad. And I don't like the word addiction. You know, 'cause let's say bad habit. Let's say I had a bad habit, because addiction, it has a different kind of connotation, a different sound. It comes off completely differently, Bad habits, yeah, I was rewarding myself in all the wrong ways, because it's also kind of reward. But then it turns into punishment without even realizing it. It started off as fun, like, all right, let's try. Let's do like a little bit. Let's do a quarter. Let's do a half. Let's see what happens. I was really heavy into the nightlife industry. I loved going out, partying, literally just getting my hands on whatever. And like, all right, let's have some fun.
Just like trying it.
Tuesday night was cocaine. Wednesday was alcohol. Thursday was Friday was ketamine. Saturday was ecstasy. There was always something there in those 2.5 years of debauchery. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I caught a crazy case. I got in trouble.
Oh wow. Okay.
No good. Yeah. And I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't know how to handle it. So I was like, okay, let me chip. I'll start like a half, a quarter. Oh, I'm fine. This is great. I never thought that, I'd get wrapped up in it the way I did. So I was doing 30 milligram Roxy's Percocets. They were called blues. They're still called blues. And
so 30 milligrams, that's considered a lot.
It's pretty strong. It's heavy. Yeah. Normally they prescribe 10 milligrams with some acetaminophen or whatever, but 30 milligrams are extremely potent.
Gotcha.
And I wasn't ingesting them. I was either snorting them, and later on, as the addiction went on, there I go using the word, we were smoking it.
I gotcha. Okay.
I say, I came with a crew. I never did it alone. I mean, that's when, at first it was a social thing, and then it became very antisocial, and I kind of buried myself within myself, dark rooms, didn't want to talk to anybody, pushed everyone away, pretended to be okay. So it started off, again, chipping away 1 a day, then it became 3 a day. Now I can't wake up. Now I can't live my life without immediately having it in my system, because it's a feeling of sickness. I felt like I was the onset of a flu every morning. The chills, the cold, the sweats. It got to a point where I was doing like 12 a day.
Wow.
And that's a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's over 300 milligrams a day. It became out of control to the point where I was nodding off. I was forgetting things. That's when I started becoming messy and sloppy. And, it snowballed very quickly, very quickly. And I was going back and forth. I had a few years on, and then I would have a year off or a year and a half off. And then it's so easy to get hooked on it again. All it takes is that one taste. And mentally, it's like, oh shit, I need it. Can I curse?
Yeah, it's
fine. It's all right.
It's all right.
We got to bring some levity. It's a very serious topic.
Absolutely.
We're going to laugh a little bit.
Yeah, we'll laugh at Michail's addiction here.
It's fucked up. So, man. Yeah, it's heavy.
Dude, man. I mean, you were in the middle of a story. You were saying you were taking 30 milligram Roxys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just said I had enough. Again, I was losing everyone that I love around me. I went through a divorce, and I kind of relapsed towards the end of it. When my whole world crumbled, and I didn't want to deal with anything. I ran away from all my problems, from all my feelings and emotions. I thought I could bury it. I thought I could dumb it down, but it didn't work. It only got worse. It made the pain exponential. It turned it into a monster, and I decided enough is enough.
That's amazing.
It was difficult to get off, because I tried different methods. I was telling you earlier, like I tried Suboxone, and that was horrible. I don't recommend that for anyone, to anyone. It's 10 times harder to get off of that than it was the opiates. It took, again, Lomki, like, the chills and the breakdowns. It was like a 2.5, 3 week physical withdrawal. With the opiates, it was a 3, 4, 5 day withdrawal physically. And then the rest was the mental part, I got very fortunate. I was introduced to a clinic. It was a Damien Center. It was on Queens Boulevard in Jamaica by the Wendy's. I don't know if you're familiar. It's right there. And there was an amazing, amazing team there. What I didn't condone and promote was that they were trying to give me other kinds of drugs to help me sleep and, for the anxiety. I refused all of that.
Okay.
The Xanaxes and the whatever, the Klonopins, the benzos, just to kind of calm the nerve and help you sleep. Because the withdrawals are pretty serious. You don't sleep, you're shaking. Your body feels like someone's bashing nails into it, and hammering nails into it. Yeah. It's just like a get away, like you have something living inside you, crawling, trying to get out. And they were extremely helpful, but what they offered me was not just therapy. Miss Robinson, by the way, I don't know where she is. God bless you. She moved on, and which was kind of sad. It was a sad day, because she worked with me for 2 years diligently. We were seeing each other twice a week, every week for almost 2 years.
Doing like intensive therapy.
She just gave it to me straight, man. She's like, what's going on? What's bothering you? What's happened in your life? There was no bullshit. What I also really liked, which is what I'm having a hard time with now, is I didn't have to pay for it. Like insurance covered it. And I understand people gotta, time is money, and people are offering you their time and they should get paid. But I always found it hard to pay somebody to listen to me, and I think a lot of other people have that problem too. It's why can't we just have a conversation? But again, it doesn't work that way. I understand. It's not realistic.
Yeah, I mean, you do bring up a good point, and I say this story often, but like my mentor, Sonny Perlman, he used to say, he denies saying this, but he used to say
that it's pretty messed up that we live in a society where we pay people to listen to us. You know, like, why can't we have friends and family that are supportive, that are there for us, that care about us, so that we don't need to pay people, or like people are trained to like be non-judgmental, to listen to you, to care about you, and like say, you know, you're okay, and get deep with you. So whatever, obviously what he means is just like, it's a critique on our culture. Obviously he is a therapist, so he needs therapy, but like, it's a good point you bring up. Like, it is tough. Like, why, like, that seems like something family and friends should be able to do. So it's like,
here's the thing though, they can provide you love, but they don't always have the tools to help you come off something that serious, like a drug or alcohol or any kind of dependency. They don't really know how to guide you sometimes. And the professionals do. They go to school for it. They do train you for that. Yeah. Which I understand. But again, mentally, it was always very hard for me to get past that point. It's like, I'm paying someone. So I get that, it worked. It really worked in that moment for me. I got very fortunate. I guess I was at the right place at the right time. And they offered me a shot. What was it called? I forgot the name of the shot. Vivitrol. There we go. It's a Vivitrol shot. So the way they explain it to me is it blocks the receptors in the brain where all of those drugs and alcohol go to. But here's the flip side. If you do any of the opiates or drink while you're on the shot, you can almost overdose immediately.
Really?
Yeah. So it's not something to be trifled with and messed with. You know, it kind of puts it's like, hey man, this is it. Are you sure you're ready for this? And I had to be clean for almost 2 to 3 weeks before I can take the shot, so I don't immediately fall into an overdose kind of state. And I told myself, how am I going to get clean? Like, that's the hardest part.
2 to 3 weeks.
Those first 2-3 weeks are one of the hardest. Once you pass that, it's on you. You know, but those are some of the hardest moments in recovery. So I took myself to Israel. I didn't tell anybody. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go to Israel. It was around Rosh Hashanah, Jewish New Year. And I did not tell my family here. I didn't tell my family out there what I was going through, what I was going to do. And they just thought I was sick for a few days. You know, in the first 3 days, they were like, oh, I guess I'm like, yeah, I don't feel, I played it. And I was like, I didn't want anyone to know. I was like, all right, I have to do this. And I felt like in Israel, it was the best place for me to do it because it was warm. I had warmth of family. I had the actual warmth of the temperature, the atmosphere. Israel's not New York. It's different. Right. You know, the energy is palpable here. You can feel it. You can feel it's constant here. In Israel, it was a little calmer. It was a little slower. And Rosh Hashanah came, and they're like, no. You get up. That's it. We're not going to let you lay there like this anymore. Get up. Made me a bowl of soup, and I sat for the Seder, I guess, right? What we call it. Yeah. And I never looked back. I stayed there for 2-3 weeks. It was still tough physically. I had the runs, you know, I was kind of weak physically every now and then. I came back to New York. I started doing the shot, and it's once a month. Poke you right in your ass. You know? It hurt too. Really? It hurt. It hurt. It wasn't pleasant. But then, as a side effect, I started fainting.
Really? From the Vivitrol?
Yeah, and I wasn't a person that fainted. Like, it's not something that I was, doing. And I knew something was wrong.
Like, randomly you would just faint?
Yeah, it was very scary. It was super scary. And I felt imbalanced. It was strange. And then I went on a journey with some friends, and we decided to take mushrooms. And I just sat in a room with the people around. And I felt like I was in a test tube. I couldn't move. I felt like I was in a blue test tube. I was engulfed, encased in a tube, and I felt like a science project. And I was just like a mime, just like, why am I enclosed in this thing? And I'm like, no, I got to get off this thing. But it gave me the boost. Those first 3 months that I was on it, it helped me. It gave me a nice boost to stay clean. And then it was on me.
Wait, so if I'm understanding correctly, the mushrooms made you realize that the Vivitrol is not for you?
Yeah, I had like outer body spiritual kind of experience.
And you felt like the Vivitrol was kind of like encasing you.
Yeah.
Strange.
Yeah, but beautiful at the same time because, I kind of snapped out of it, and I was like, oh, that's what I love about mushrooms. It goes in, you go inward. It's not like a plastic outer, like it's real.
That's real, yeah.
It's very real.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I have my own experience with mushrooms.
There we go.
Yeah. there's a lot of talk about using psilocybin for treating addiction, actually. Personally, I did it twice. One time just with some friends, and then another time I did it with a guide.
That's the way.
Yeah, but both times I had a horrible experience. But I did ayahuasca and I had a good experience. You know what I mean?
Ayahuasca is the real deal.
Yeah, well, for me it definitely was. But that I did in a ceremony. I mean, just before I talk about the story, like what I personally experienced and how it was real, and hear more from you, like I do want to say, I think there's a lot of talk nowadays about how psychedelics are like, oh, it's so healing, it's good, and this and that. And I think it ignores a lot of people's horrible experiences, and it could really be damaging. Like from that shrooms experience that I had, I was getting like anxiety attacks, like not to the level of panic attacks, but like I was getting like real anxiety for like a year after, legitimately like low-key for a year. Like real existential anxiety of like, do I actually exist, or is this all some weird illusion? You know what I mean?
It's a lot. You get to the truth.
Right.
You dig and you get to the root, and the truth is a lot to handle.
It's true, yeah.
It's hard. It's difficult. Yeah, but,
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I want to hear from, so you wanted to say more about the shroom story or like?
No, I was actually curious about your experience.
Sure.
Like what happened,
Which time?
You said both were bad.
Both were horrible, man. I mean, I'll tell you okay, I'm convinced, this is actually a funny thing. I'm convinced I saw the birth of my daughter on my first shrooms trip. I'm absolutely convinced. Like, I remember I saw a baby that was blue, like a blue baby, and like being held up, and I remember thinking, I was like, why, like, what is this? And I remember seeing like, the shapes, those classic, like I forget what they're called, like the kaleidoscoping shapes and everything. So like all these kaleidoscoping shapes around are like this weird, and I remember seeing like this, I don't know, like it felt like I was like looking into an alternate dimension almost. And I was seeing all these kaleidoscoping shapes, and I was seeing this like person holding up this like legitimately blue baby. And I was like, that's so weird. Why does this baby look like this? And then literally after my wife gave birth and the doctor brought out the baby, it was the exact, I was getting like mad.
You freaked out.
Yeah, I was freaking out, bro. I was about to pass out.
Get this baby away from me.
No, it was so weird. Because I didn't know that when a baby is born, like a newborn baby, it's not like a human color.
They're not breathing.
They're not, right. Yeah. It's a completely like this opaque blue purple color, and I was not expecting that. And then like I saw that, and I was like, oh my God, I totally freaked out.
Isn't that cool though? It's like, wow, you got a glimpse.
I got a glimpse
that freaked you out.
It freaked me out, man. Yeah, it really freaked me out.
How long before you had your baby did you have this experience on the shrooms?
A couple of years, honestly. I did the shrooms when I was 24, and I just had my baby. I'm 27, so like 3 years. Nice. Yeah,
very cool.
Yeah. But anyways, aside for that, dude, I mean, the mushrooms trip was such a crazy trip. For so many reasons, man. I had seen that like, I don't even know where to begin, man.
Go from the start.
I'll just go from the start, yeah. Dude, the beginning, I realized that I was in a spaceship.
Whoa.
Yeah. And Krishna was there with me. Oh, wow. The Hindu god.
Yeah.
And actually my friend that I was doing shrooms with was Krishna.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I was like on an alien spaceship with him or them, whatever. There was more than one person there. And like I realized this whole life that I was living was completely an illusion, where like it was just like it was an entertainment on the ship. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was bizarre. That's what I had first seen. And then I'd seen that like life is just like another episode of The Simpsons. It was like when that happened, I also like bugged out because I realized I was like what's happening? Like
why?
Yeah, like why? Like everything's just another episode of The Simpsons. And basically I had this other experience where I was going through something really tough at the time. I was going through a really bad heartbreak. It was killing me. It was like legitimately killing me. The whole reason I actually did the shrooms was because after the ayahuasca, I had so many insights that I thought that maybe if I do shrooms, I'll have similar insights. And I came in kind of with the intention to understand why I was going through such bad heartbreak at the time, it was bothering me so much. And basically, I think this is the most valuable thing I took out of it. I don't know who exactly I was talking to and who exactly said this to me, but the idea came to me that like, why do you think there needs to be a reason for pain and suffering? Like you could just be tortured for no reason. Like you think like, I take it for granted that I shouldn't be in pain. You know what I mean? I shouldn't be suffering. That's how it should be. But this voice or whatever this being was that was talking to me, part of my mind, whatever it was saying like, no, you could just be tortured for no reason. And then the whole end of my shrooms trip until I eventually blacked out was just me being like, like me kind of being like immobile and water being constantly poured over my socks. You know what I mean? You ever been a kid and you go into the shower and you're wearing socks?
No.
So it's happened to me a few times. And like, it was a very uncomfortable feeling. Like you get in the shower and you have socks on, like and you're not expecting it. It's weird. Right. I was just legitimately being tortured in this way where it was like, I was just getting water poured over my socks. Off. Yeah. I couldn't, I was immobile and I was being, and it was like, and the message is like suffering could be complete. Like you don't have to there doesn't have to be a reason you're suffering. It could just be the way it is.
A lot of it is self-inflicted.
Yeah.
Minus the exterior environment. You know, obviously sometimes the environment causes the suffering, but most of the times it comes from inside.
Yeah. It's tough. I think so too, yeah.
Love is love, man.
Love is
heart's
love.
Going to be broken, you know?
Yeah.
It's love.
It's true, man.
Yeah. Deep breaths, water break, and we continue.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, but then I thought I had to rectify it by going to, I thought that maybe the reason I had such a bad experience was because I did it recreationally as opposed to doing it with a guide for real. So I did it with a guide who's actually like a kollel guy. He's studying to be a rabbi and stuff. So, yeah, he does
was he on it too?
He doesn't know. He does contact. When you do ayahuasca, the shaman usually does it as well. But he doesn't. With him too, I had a bad experience. It wasn't as bad, but it was still in the same theme of things.
That's strange. If someone's not tripping, I can't be around them. If I'm tripping,
they need to be tripping.
Awkward, yeah.
It is awkward.
Yeah, it's weird. You kind of want to ride the wave together.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But anyways, Michael, I want to get back to your story a little bit. You were saying you were 31 when you quit, when you stopped, when you went to Israel and you did that flight. How old were you? You said the addiction kind of progressed and got much worse when you caught the case.
It's when it started.
Oh, that's when it started. So how old were you?
I was 23.
23. So for about 7 years.
On and off for 7 years. 7, 8 years. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. So
I had a nice break in between. Okay. It was a year and a half, close to a year and a half when I met my ex-wife, when I moved to Brooklyn. I had a nice a year and a half where it was completely good in between those 8 years.
Yeah. Talk to me about this marriage. What happened exactly? You were kind of using substances, you got off it, then you met your ex-wife?
Yeah. Okay. It was a good time in my life, and it just didn't work out, man. You know, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. I wasn't ready. I take responsibility. I should have known better. You know, I wasn't ready yet. I wasn't good. You know, I let the pressures get to me a little bit. I was turning 30. And you know how it is for me. Oh, you're old, you're useless. So I kind of, I gave that permission, but we just weren't compatible. We weren't bringing out the best at each other. You know what I mean? There was obviously love there. You know, it was passionate. It was deep, but I think we both had a lot of work to do. You know, and it just exploded. It was toxic. It was very toxic.
That's tough to hear, man.
Again, I take responsibility where I need to take responsibility. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm not going to... It wasn't her fault. I'll agree with 50-50. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's okay if she doesn't. That's fine.
Yeah.
I hope she's doing well.
You guys don't speak anymore?
No. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Did it end in flames?
It was tough, man. It was tough. It did end in flames. Yeah. Getting the get was weird.
Oh yeah, okay.
You know, that whole experience was strange because I didn't know what I was going into, and then so the rabbis get you in a room, you know, and we don't say a word to each other, and they're writing the get, right? 40 minutes passes, 45 minutes passes, 20 minutes into it, you know, we were quiet, quiet, and then we started talking.
Okay.
And we, you know, there was a back and forth, and you can tell there was still a lot there. There was still a lot living inside of us for each other, for our, you know.
Yeah.
And it's are you guys sure? You know, are you sure? You know, because after this, that's it. Are you sure? And they ask you this in 10 different ways, and then they're oh, we spelled your name wrong. We got to do it all over again.
Oh God.
So and then I understood later the psychology behind it. It's like, oh, okay, they're basically trying to not divorce you. They want you to stay together. You know what I mean? So they play this little game with you. I love the method. I thought it was really cool.
That is funny. I never heard
it was cool.
Yeah, I never heard of divorce.
Hopefully you never have to hear about it.
Thank
or
you.
go through it.
You know, I'll tell you this is going to sound really bad for me to say this. I spoke about this with Sarah when I had her on my podcast. Sarah Baruchov, guys, check out that podcast.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
Number one.
Yeah. Shout out to Sarah Baruchov. So, you know, I think like you mentioned, the pressure kind of got to you. And I guess like for Bukharian community, like you were almost 30, you said? Yeah. That is kind of like, I guess they would call that getting old, you know?
It freaked me out a little too.
How so?
It's like, damn, I'm 30. Like I could have possibly have already lived half my life. You know, and now I'm going to be 38. I just turned 38 and I'm like, wow, how much time do we have? You know, even though no moment is ever guaranteed, I'd like to think I'm going to go to 70s, 80s. I'm like, you know, it still kind of freaks me out a little bit. But now I don't let it guide my decisions. I refuse. Because again, age is really just a number. I have a wealth of experience, but I feel like I'm 20 years old.
That's amazing.
Inside.
You know, you have such a high energy, like youthful.
It's nuts, bro. I can't drink coffee. I can't drink like tea with caffeine. You think I have energy now. It's like, I get by you, bro.
Yeah. No,
Thank God. I'm happy for it. But that's another thing. It's knowing what to do with that energy. Because once I got off the opiates, I became present. And I was like, okay, now I have to deal with myself, be good with myself, love myself. But at the same time, what do I do with all this time? Because idle time is where, you know, I kind of, was like, oh. That was tough. It was finding what to do with the time and being productive and being positive and trying to get, I made it a thing. I want to give back. I want to be good. I want to be kind. It's constant work. It doesn't stop. For anyone that is trying to better their lives, it's not easy. It's not, but it's amazing.
Wow.
It really is amazing, you know? Music, reading, writing. I'm working on a novel right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I still can't believe I am where I am today. And like the fact that I'm even alive. And my crew, all the guys that I grew up, we all got out on time. Do you know statistically it's almost impossible that one of us didn't die?
That is kind of crazy, actually. I'm surprised.
There was a nice solid group of 4 of us, right? That we were always together. None of us died. And we all got out around the same time, plus minus. And I think to myself, look what's going on today.
Yeah.
How many kids are dropping dead because the drugs are laced, right? The fentanyl is in everything. We were this close, you know?
Yeah.
We were this close. So, yeah, it's a miracle.
Wow. To being hit with some fentanyl.
What's up?
To being hit with some fentanyl.
It's so simple today.
Yeah.
It's bad, bro.
Yeah.
It's really bad. They can't keep up with the demand. It's impossible. Not legally, at least. Right? You're prescribing a patient how many pills a month? 30, 60, twice a day? Let's say you're getting 60. Let's say you're even getting 3, 4, right? That's 120 pills. Let's say they were someone at my rate. That's 12 a day. That's only 10 days worth. You can't physically prescribe that many pills without a red flag, right? So what do we do? Not we, but what do the kids do? They resort to the street drugs. And again, it's impossible for the drug dealers to supply this kind of demand. It eats at you. You can't live without it. You know, it's no joke. Yeah,
I want to go down this. I want to ask you, what do you think it is that so many kids are dropping and taking this stuff? Like, I personally know, out of my classmates, I graduated from Shar Tzion from 8th grade with 10 kids in my class. 3 kids I've heard from my graduating 8th grade class were on substances. 1 I heard is sober now, and the other 2 I don't know. You know what I mean? And that's just what I know about. 3 out of 10 from my class. That's crazy. That's 30%.
It's a high number.
It's a really high number. It's bizarre. And I had somebody that I knew who had the same birthday as me on February 3rd. Literally when I was 21. I saw him like 2 weeks before. Literally 2 weeks before, he was fine. He seemed like cool, you know? Always had like a big smile, charismatic, nice guy. 2 weeks later, I hear he's like in a coma and he died a couple of days later. You know?
That's fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know why the kids are resorting to the drugs. I'll tell you what, for us, it was just fun. And you think you're impervious to it. You think, oh, it'll never happen to me. That's the sentiment going around with a lot of the people that start. It's never going to get me. I'm strong. No chance. You stand no chance if you play that game. You stand zero chance. And today, you don't even need to have the habitual. It just takes one time. That's how messed up the drugs are on the street right now. If you're already going to play, I would say carry around a kit, like a testing kit. You can test your drugs. At least, get fucked up responsibly if that's,
Yeah.
Maybe, so you don't die, so you can live to fight another day,
Yeah.
I don't know what's pushing these kids. The neighborhoods, the communities, the influences, the televisions, the social medias, it's all there. Who's sponsoring the biggest events? It's all drug companies. It's there. Yeah, it's in your face. It's subliminally getting you're bombarded with it all day. You don't even realize it, but it's happening.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. You need good friendships. You need a solid. You need the roots. The roots need to be solid, and that comes from home. We don't know what's going on in people's homes. We don't know who's getting abused. We don't know who doesn't have a mother, who doesn't have a father, who has parents but that are absent. We don't know what's going on in the house. And don't forget, when you're a teenager, you just want to rebel just to fucking rebel.
Right.
You don't give a shit. You just because I want to be. That's it. It's in your nature.
Yeah.
That's what teenagers do. They say, "Fuck you. We're gonna experiment and we're gonna do stupid shit." All it takes is one time.
And that's so sad. I think about myself as a teenager. There was definitely times when I was like, okay, I want to rebel. But like drugs were never an option. I did drink in high school for sure. And I think like a lot of kids are doing marijuana now. Like that's kind of became the new alcohol. And then it doesn't really progress for a lot of them. But then like other kids, maybe they'll pop a pill here or there or something. But like other kids, like legitimately, like, are falling hard, like taking like crazy shit. And it's hard to understand,
I'll tell you, when I was a kid, my parents had me like this. They just had me like, nope, school, work, babysit. Никуда не идешь. Even when I wanted to go out, your friends are coming over here, right? Which was great. It was amazing. It was safe. But you can't protect your children forever. Eventually they have to go out, right? Live in this world, get a job, go to school. I never saw Manhattan. I never saw these things. I didn't see our city. I was living in a bubble. It was yeshiva, it was work, and home. Where do we go? To pizza on like Main Street or like watch a movie? That was it.
Yeah.
That was it. They wouldn't even let me sleep over people's houses. They're like, no. They come here. They want to sleep. Oh, everyone comes to, which is, I think, very responsible. But once I got out, I went to Hunter for college the first 2 years, and then I went to Baruch. Both schools are in the city. Once I saw the city, come on. How does it pulled me so quickly. I was like, oh my God, bars, drinks, woman, fun. Let's go to a party. Let's try ecstasy. The opiates didn't come till later, but the experimenting started around that time after high school. High school was
like
good.
18.
Yeah, it was around 19 years old. That's when I kind of crossed the line.
Interesting. That's so shocking to me also. I feel like you're hearing that your parents were so strict.
They were good, though.
They were good, right?
They were good. They gave me everything. When the pandemic hit, I was living with my parents. I moved back with my parents. And, I always rebelled, like we were saying earlier. So my mother and I, we were always butt heads, even though we're so similar and we love each other so much, but like we always butted heads. And I read this book called The Next Person You Meet in Heaven. You ever heard of The 5 People You Meet in Heaven? It's a Mitch Albom, good writer. It's nice. So he came out with a second book, and it's The Next Person You Meet in Heaven. And it talks about a relationship between a daughter and a mother. I'm not going to get into the whole detail of the book, but the daughter dies in this book. I'm not going to ruin it. I didn't ruin the book for anyone who wants to read it. It's actually a lot more intricate and fun than that. But the daughter meets the mom in heaven, right? And so in the first book, the daughter loses her arm in an accident because the mom wasn't paying attention. She was having fun with her boyfriend on the beach. All it took was 2 minutes. They were in a Luna Park. One of the rides malfunctions. She loses an arm. So the mom felt so guilty that she wasn't there for her daughter that she became an overbearing parent. And she was just on top of her all the time. And she basically didn't let her breathe. Where are you going? What time are you going to be home? No, you can't go out. No, you can't do this. No, you can't do that. So now when they meet in heaven, the mother gets to explain herself. And she's like, I was like this with you because I felt like a failure. I felt like I failed you as a mother because I wasn't there to protect you. And then I think to myself as I'm reading this book, and, I'm with my parents, and I was like, we're forced to be with each other because, we were locked down. And I'm like, is that what my mom thinks? Like, does she think she failed me? Because that's the last thing she did. She gave me everything and she still does. So to the parents, you may be overbearing, but maybe just you're not failing. You can only protect your children from so much, right?
Yeah.
You give what you can, love them, listen to them. Listening is huge. And I learned that only a few years ago. I had a problem with listening. It was always to react and to respond instead of, I'm already thinking of my response before you even finish. You didn't even finish your sentence,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Instead of like genuinely trying to listen to understand someone.
Pay attention, listen. People tell you a lot. Even with their body language, with their eyes, It's big.
It is, man, yeah. It's so important to be able to listen, to like be there for people. That's how you truly support someone and understand them. Like listen to them, show you care, Yeah. I want to go back to, I guess, like the early, I know you mentioned that you, when we were talking, you found like a bag of pot on the street.
Coming to your house brought back crazy memories because we had a fire in the house when I was 17. I was in high school. And we lost everything, material-wise. We didn't have a home for 5 months? We didn't have a home. So we were renting a house out, literally around the block from your place here. And I remember one day coming from school, taking the bus, walking down Main Street, and I find this, and I smoked pot one other time my entire life before then. Like I wasn't a smoker.
Yeah.
I found this huge bag of weed, and they were all like bagged up into little dime bags. I'm like, what the fuck is this? I'm like, what is this? Like, is oregano? What is this? I go to school the next day. I show one of my friends, like, man, what is this? And he's like, it's pot, Mike. I was like, oh. I was like, all right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sell half of it, and then I'm going to smoke the other half. And then I realized, like, wow, you can make a lot of money selling weed,
Dang.
And then a few years later, I started hustling myself.
Like selling.
Yeah, I remember.
Is that the case you got?
Yeah, it was, I don't want to get too deep into it.
Yeah.
But it was part of it.
Yeah.
I remember the first day, I was like, all right, I'm going to buy an ounce and I'm going to take a chance. Let's see what happens. I bought an ounce of weed and I sold it that night. I sold the whole bag, the whole ounce in one night. And I was like, oh my God, it was the worst thing that could have happened. When you play and you gamble and you've never played before and then you win your first time in the beginner's luck. Yeah. That's kind of what that was. And I was like, oh my God. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was crazy.
That sounds crazy, man. I mean, then what were you hustling?
Weed. But then
just weed, okay.
Just weed, and then it got into the harder stuff. Gotcha. At some point, I literally had whatever you needed.
Really?
Yeah, I could get my hands on anything. At some point in my life, like, because I was in college, I was in school. You needed Adderall to study, I got you. You need something to go to sleep, I got you. You need a weed, take the edge off, I got you. You needed a gym pass, I can get you gym passes. You needed a medical teeth cleaning. I like to facilitate, and I still do. I like to be the connector, and I kind of took that today. I just don't monetize it anymore. I don't care for that part anymore. I just want to help. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I mean, I want to get into it with you. I really want to understand like the drug structure. Like, how are you getting the supply for the other people?
What do you mean?
Like, how did you get the stuff to be able to sell?
I mean, you reach out to dealers.
So there are people like dealers that people know.
Of course, there's dealers everywhere.
Gotcha.
Of course. Now they've legitimized it. Now you can go to the bodega and buy weed. It's fucking nuts.
Yeah, it is pretty
crazy. And they're not legit shops either. They're not, what's that thing called? Licensed. They're not, none of them are licensed. Like 9 out of 10 of them aren't licensed right now. I'm like, what's going on?
That's pretty crazy.
Our city is wild right now.
Yeah,
it's kind of, they flipped it. They flipped it. I think they want it. I think they want people numbed and dumbed down and kind of just mellow, for what? Because it's chaos right now. You know, the bail stuff. They don't want people, like, you're literally letting people commit crimes and then just letting, you know, I don't want to go down that.
Letting them go off.
Fuck this rabbit hole.
Yeah, it's a fun rabbit hole to go down. Actually, I was talking with a cop who was telling me all about this, and I wanted to get him on the podcast, and he's like, I can't speak on it.
He'll lose his job.
Yeah. He's like, it's pretty
Unless
crazy.
you can dub his face, or, you know, I don't know.
You get him talk secretly. Yeah, maybe.
No, you change the voice, you
Right.
blur out the face. But then they're like, how do we know it's not Mike behind it?
Yeah. Dude, wow. It does baffle my mind. I mean, like, are there so many dealers that you can find out who a dealer is, but the police can't? You know what I mean?
Here's what I've learned in life.
Okay.
Any successful dealer, I think, works with the authorities.
Really?
Today, that's how I understand it today. The really successful ones, the ones that never get in trouble, the ones that never get. You can only get so big without having them knock on your door.
Okay.
So I feel like the really successful ones definitely work with law enforcement.
Fascinating. So you think they're like buying them off or something?
If you're not, you're stupid. You're behind. Like, imagine if I paid off, or not paid off, but just work. Like, I would never. The sky's the limit, and they want you to grow.
Yeah.
Because then you're finding all these little guys in the small, and then you're getting to the bigger guys. It's sick, bro. It's a twisted game. It's a twisted game. Yeah. I think they know. They know who the dealers are. They know who the dealers are.
They have to know who the dealers are.
They watch, they wait, they listen until it's time to pounce. Because, you know, what does it take to arrest some kid that just copped some drugs, that just wanted to buy a bag, and like they pressure you, like, oh, we're going to put you in jail for a year. Tell me where you got it from. You're not going to say something?
I mean, I would. I'm.
You know? It's like, is it worth it for that bag? Who the fuck is this dealer to you? Right. He's nobody.
Right.
Fuck you. You know?
Yeah.
I love that I can curse. It just comes out.
No, that's cool, man. No, so that's fascinating. I mean, to me, that seems so crooked, though, that there are dealers that are working with the authorities.
It's just
it's
hunch.
a theory. It's a
theory.
They got to make a movie about that, though.
They have so many. All the big time guys work with the authorities. Like let's move on. They might just fucking. I don't want to create enemies.
So that's crazy, man. You found a bag of weed, you sold it, you got money right away. That got you on the track, and then that eventually led to...
It gave me the idea. I didn't do it yet. I didn't start it until I finished high school.
Got you.
From 19 to 23, I was hustling pretty strong, pretty heavy.
Wow.
It was crazy. To the point where I was like, oh, okay, I don't ever need to go to school or work. I'm like, I'm making fucking crazy money.
That's crazy, man. Can you give me like a...
I was coming home from a night out with like $5,000-$6,000 in my pocket.
One night?
Yeah.
Adjusted for inflation, that was like $20,000.
Today, it's about 15.
15, really?
It was
that time?
15 years ago.
Wow.
So more, almost, if you think about when I started. 20 years.
Yeah. No, but that's still insane,
right.
man.
That's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
Because I was entrenched in the nightlife, I had access. Like, I had access to all the people that wanted the drugs.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was pretty wild.
Bro, $5,000 a night, man?
Cash.
That's cash, man.
Cash.
That's insane.
Come home and get paid. I got paid to go out, essentially.
That's insane.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah. It was a wild time.
Oh my God.
It's nice to get it out. I don't really talk about this anymore.
I mean, are you allowed? Am I going to have to edit this out? I don't want to
That's fine.
pass the statute of limitations,
What
whatever.
are they going to do? I already paid.
You paid?
I paid. Yeah. I paid my dues.
Paid your dues?
You don't get away with anything in this life. From personal experience, you pay for every transgression. You won't even realize it sometimes, but you'll pay for it. Oh, why is this happening? Why is it? Think really hard why it's happening. Because you did something that it's coming to you in another way. Sometimes it's straightforward. A lot of people aren't self-aware. People get lost in the sauce. It's just constant. You don't have time to think. You don't have time to breathe. It's work. Family. Take a breath. Speaking of that, I just signed up to a 10-day silent retreat.
Well, no way.
Yeah, it's called Vipassana.
Interesting. You're doing Vipassana.
Yeah.
Wow.
You heard of it?
I've heard of it, yeah. But I've shared with the people and they're not familiar.
So again, it's my first time.
Okay.
What's funny is I was registered to one of their courses 4 years ago. It was supposed to be in Boston. And then COVID hit. Everything got shut down. Right? So shutdown started in March. April was when I was supposed to go. And didn't happen. And my cousin called me last week from Hawaii. She studies holistic medicine. She's an acupuncturist, amazing woman. She's like, Mike, I had a dream that you and I went to Vipassana together. And I was resistant at first. I'm like, it's so much work. It's hard.
10 days, man.
It's a lot of discomfort. I don't really meditate like that. So it's just meditation and no talking. They put you on it's like a food diet. I don't like to use the word diet because it's got the word die in it. I don't want to die. Or like a nutritional, I guess plan. And so the way I understood it, they're rewiring my nervous system. No talking. She told me we don't even make eye contact with people, which is kind of wild. Yeah, I like to talk, so it's gonna
wow.
No reading, no writing. The phone I can't wait to get rid of. I'm happy about that. Okay. But like the no reading and the writing, I don't know. Yeah, just sitting with yourself.
With yourself for 10 days, bro.
What I'm really hoping for is that it teaches me how to silence this over here or wherever that voice is coming from.
Be at peace with it at the very least, you know?
Just shut it off.
Shut up.
Lately I've been just shut the fuck up. Can everyone just please shut the fuck up? It's so noisy here. It's so noisy here. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's in June.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
Is it like a Tibetan monastery thing or
No,
something else?
no.
Okay.
No. What's cool is I like the location. This one's going to be in Southern California. 29 Palms is the area. But I looked on the map to see where we're going to be. So you have Lake Havasuvia, which is like sacred land, and you have like native land there. Then you have Mojave Desert. Then you have the Colorado Desert. So I feel like even being on that land, there's just something about it.
That's something special.
Yeah.
Wow, dude. I mean, we have to do another podcast when you come back and hear about how this 10-day retreat went.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
When I did a 40-day cross-country road trip, we drove through that area, Arizona, Utah. You feel something there. I don't know you. I'm very in tune. I felt something there, and it like reprogrammed me to just. It was something very, very special in that area. So I'm really looking forward to this trip.
Interesting.
Digging. I want to dig. I want to be uncomfortable. I learned when I was in an actor's studio. A very wise professor, Terry Knickerbocker, he told me, you only grow in discomfort. That's where the growth comes from. You have to be uncomfortable. So,
I love
excited.
it. Yeah, I'm excited for you, man. Dude, speaking of growing in discomfort, I've been taking cold showers recently.
Oh, the best.
Yeah, dude. I've been doing it basically every day for the past 30 days.
Good.
5 a.m. this morning. Well, actually not 5, it was 6 because I fed my baby first and then I got out to the shower. Bro, it's something you don't want to do so badly and then you force yourself to do it. But you got to condition yourself, honestly. I think it's easier when, this is way easier than when I first started. You know?
You get used to it. And at some point, you could just take a cold shower. It's like, all right.
Yeah, exactly.
It's nice. It's actually really refreshing.
It's really refreshing.
I love it. Hot, and then boom, I blasted it. I also do it. I love it.
That's
it's
awesome.
Because the heat relaxes you. I know there's a bunch of scientific stuff, the benefits, but for me, it's just like it's a jolt. And I'm like, let's go. Let's run.
Yeah, dude, that initial jolt and like those sharp breaths. Ooh. Oh my God. It brings me into this state.
Breathing.
Oh, and the breathing.
Where it's at. Breathing is where it's at.
For sure. I just did this podcast with Yoni Banayan. Shameless plug number 2. So he's a holistic healer and everything, and he does breath work, that's his thing. So he's coaching me a little bit on doing breath work, and that's one of the tools that we're using is within the cold shower. Doing that breath work and being able to alter our state of consciousness at will. It's very powerful. And it's like forcing our body to produce heat, just through mental game and whatever. It's through these breaths that you could do. And it really works, honestly.
Yeah.
So that's what's crazy.
I mentioned the actor studio. We work on the voice. And we were doing these exercises and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? For 2 hours though. Okay. But then it was a feeling of relaxation and just, I felt like a completely different person. I was relaxed. I was happy. I was loose. There's something, the breath is everything, man. It's everything. You also mentioned conditioning.
Yeah.
And we talk about our community, right? We've been conditioned for so long to be a certain way, to think a certain way. That was one of the hardest parts for me was to draw a line in the sand and to start reconditioning myself the way I felt was necessary. You know, because when you're growing up in a Bukharian home, not just Bukharian, every sect has its own thing. You know, Latins, Greeks, blacks, everyone has, Asians, everyone has their at home. It's difficult to break free from that. It's extremely difficult. That kind of drove me crazy because I was never like that. You know, oh, надо на Юшвойти, надо do this. You have to go. It's disrespectful. Like, I don't even know the fucking person. You know, like why am I respecting him why am I respecting anybody when they're dead? When I didn't even know them when they were alive to give them their respect. You know, so the reconditioning is another thing that I highly recommend. You know, it's okay. It's okay. Be your own person.
You know, I really want to dive deep into this concept.
Dive. Let's go. Snorkel or we going?
I think we're gonna scuba dive. Honestly, maybe see some fish or something. You know, some
breaths. We really need to breathe.
Right.
yeah. So.
Yeah, man. I mean, we were also talking about before about with the marriage. You know, being pressured to be married, and that's like part of also the community pressure we're talking about.
I gave it permission though.
I
gave it permission.
You let it.
I let it.
Yeah.
That's the thing with life. You permit a lot of things. You know, you did it. Why'd you do it? You let it happen.
You know, I think it's one of the hardest concepts because you were saying like when something bad happens to you, you really did something, you know?
Taking responsibility.
I wasn't
always like that. I was a chicken shit. It's so easy to blame other people.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
I was like, well, it's not my fault. It's their fault. No. Empathy. Putting yourself into someone else's shoes for a moment. Not even just try to get outside of yourself. What really helped me was getting outside of myself, understanding that there's something much greater than me out there. Ego is huge. It's strong. It's potent. Yeah.
What did you find that was much greater than you out there?
Say it one more time.
What did you find that was much greater than you out there?
The Creator.
How did you find the Creator?
The Creator found me. You know,
Yeah.
How many times I was in like near death situations, or even I even flatlined when I was 16.
Really?
Yeah. You know, and it's light. It's light. When you cross over, it's just light, and it's not. I've said this so many times. You know, they say your life flashes before your eyes. It's not your life.
Okay.
You see the beginning, the creation of it all. You fly. I flew through the galaxies, through the stars. It was amazing. It was beautiful, and then it's just light. So many times where it could have went this way or that way. How can I not believe in a Creator? Everything is so specific. Everything is so detailed. You stub your toe right now. Your whole life is fucked for a week. You know, so you're uncomfortable. Mess up your thumb or your nail, right? How do you not believe in a Creator? Look at this world. Look at the beauty. Yeah.
Man, I want to understand your experience of it, though. I mean, like, first of all, you were saying when you were 16, this near-death experience. Like, what was it?
So my parents let us have a party at the house, right? Me and my friends and I. It was New Year's.
And they weren't home, or they were?
No, it was New Year's Eve.
Okay.
It's like, all right, you can invite everyone. They can sleep over. It's fine. You're good. And I never drank alcohol before. And I was on medication for acne at the time.
Oh, my God.
I didn't know that. I didn't know. I just didn't know. You know? And I didn't just have one shot. I had 8 double shots of Jose Cuervo.
Oh, my God.
In 30 minutes. My parents called to wish us a happy New Year. My girlfriend at the time answers the phone. She's like, I think you guys should come home. You know, he's not looking too good. And I was already throwing up. I was changing colors. We had a hospital 2 blocks from the house. So they immediately rushed me over and they said I flatlined.
How did they resuscitate you? Just like with the electric thing? Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's what my parents told me. I wasn't.
You were not conscious. You were in the stars with the light.
Dead. It was beautiful. I saw my uncle out there. But
he died? He was dead?
He passed away from Lou Gehrig's. And we were very close in my childhood. Super close. Mania. So when my parents moved to the States, to New York, we didn't have anywhere to stay. So we stayed with Twitzanina and Mania. We stayed with them for a little bit in Brooklyn. And then when we moved to our own apartment, we were still in the same building. So we were super close to them. He passed away at a very, very young age. He had Lou Gehrig's. He just all of a sudden, he was gone.
That's so sad.
Like, just gone.
Yeah.
And he was there, but not in physical form. It wasn't like a physical mania. It was like a cloud, like a white cloud, you know, but it was him.
Like you could tell yourself.
It was him. It was his voice. It was him. And he's like, I worked another lifetime for you to get a second chance in this world. how do you not believe in a creator when you go through something like that? When I pray, when I ask for things, when I think of something, it starts to happen, you know? Which is why I get on myself a lot. It's like, why am I thinking about so much nonsense when I know I have so much power? We all do. I don't think it's just me. It's, can you access it? Can you get rid of the clutter? You know? Praying helped a lot. Prayers helped me immensely. Tilim and praying every morning, like tefillin, there's something to it. I can't explain. Every time I get to a specific prayer, Shema Koleni or something like that, right? I start to yawn. Yeah, and it's that time where like you kind of gotta like just stop and ask for a second, ask what you want, you know, put the intentions out, and I yawn every single time I get to that paragraph. Like, stop it. No, I love God. I don't like using the word God because I feel like that was created later on, but that's why I say creator. You know, like God is copyrighted. the Bible is copyrighted. Like who's making the money? Where's it going? Who has the account? You know,
It's funny, man. Yeah.
yeah.
Bro, so many beautiful points.
We got a lot in so far.
Yeah, so far. It's just getting good. I feel like we're getting started. Yeah, I mean, this power that you talked about, like our own ability to like manifest things.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I was in a car accident with my father 2 years ago. How I got out of that car, I'll never understand. We were just at a intersection, right?
Yeah.
This guy was speeding like an asshole. And I thought my life was over because the car was coming at me.
You were driving or passenger?
My father was driving. I was the passenger. The car literally T-boned my face. It's how hard we got hit. And he hit us so hard that the car spun out. There was this huge pole. We missed the pole. We spun once. We spun twice around the pole. Went into somebody's front yard and through their house. We went.
Oh my
God!
God!
Went through their
Yikes!
We went through the front of their house.
Whoa!
How are you going to tell me there isn't a God or a creator? That day, that morning, I had a dream that I was in the hospital for rabies, right? Like for my rabies shots. I was like, this is so strange. Like, what kind of dream is that? The car accident happens. We go straight to the hospital, and there's a woman in like the waiting area. You know that you go from one room to the next, right? When you're in the hospital, like they check you in, and now you're kind of moving until you wait to be seen. And there's a woman sitting right next to me, and she's moving with us to every room, and she's in her scrubs. At first, I thought she was a nurse, but her arm was wrapped.
Okay.
I'm like, what is it? Like you're not working here. What's going on? She's like, I'm a veterinarian technician. She's like, we were doing surgery on a cat. Somebody walked into the room, and the cat started coming at me, started clawing at me and biting me. She's like, I'm here for my rabies shots. And
That's so random.
And
wow.
I told my mother about this dream before it happened. And I wrote down the notes on my phone that day, and I dated it. And I was like, I'm to the woman, I'm like, I'm going to show you something. I'm sorry, I didn't tell my mom. I showed her the message as well. I'm like, listen, don't freak out, but like, I want to show you something right now. This is to the nurse, to the vet technician. And she reads this thing, and she reads my dream, and she just starts to cry. And my mom's like, Mike, you're freaky. Like, this is scary. You know
That's
what I mean?
so scary.
How are you going to tell me there isn't a creator?
Like, how does that happen?
That's just one example.
Yeah.
You know, I'm very attuned to my dreams. They're a gift. I used to think it was a curse because, like, imagine knowing what's going to happen. It's kind of freaky. Breaking it down, analyzing it, understanding it. Sometimes it's wrong. So many times the dreams are contrary. You think it's a bad dream, but it's actually a good dream. I called my sister a week before she finds out she's pregnant. I was like, Renee, when was the last time Renee's my sister. I'm like, when was the last time you got checked? She's like, why? I have no reason to. You know, like, go get yourself checked. I think you're pregnant. She's like, Mike, that's kind of weird. I was like, just go. A week later, she's like, how did you know?
Wow.
She's like, how did you know? I'm like, it just came.
Wow.
And then right before they were going to have the kid, she's like, guess what his name is going to be? I'm like, you're going to name him Aaron. She turned white. She's like, how did you know? We didn't tell this to anybody. How are you going to tell me there isn't a creator?
That's so crazy. I mean, how did you guess Aaron?
I'm telling you, it was there. I don't know. I don't know. I can't explain some of these things. They're inexplainable. But how are you going to say that there isn't a God, or a creator?
Something connecting us all, at least.
You see how conditioned?
Yeah.
I keep saying it, even though
You
I don't want. It's there. It's fucking crazy.
It is pretty crazy.
It's deep.
Speaking of that, you mentioned in the beginning of the podcast that you don't like using the word addiction. Also, you like using bad habit. I want to talk about that a little bit too.
The words, man. The words carry so much with it. Like, good morning. Like, what do you do when someone passes away? You're mourning them, right? Okay. Have a good weekend. You get the weekend of the stick. Wake up. What do you do at a wake? Think about it.
Okay.
Right? So I'm very, very careful with the words that I use.
Because they have double meanings.
The days of the week are gods. They're Greek gods. What's the connection? Why can't we be like in Hebrew? Yom Rishon, Yom Sheni, day 1, day 2. Like, bless you. What's her name? Diana from the podcast?
Yeah.
Slatky Stol.
Shameless plug number 3, Slatky Stol.
I had a therapy session with her last week.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah. Because I was like, all right, let's explore. Let's, And she sneezed, or I sneezed, and I think she sneezed, and I bless you. She's like, but look at the word, be less. Right?
Okay. You said that or she said that?
She said that.
Okay.
So we were on the same wavelengths when it comes to the vocabulary. What are you doing when you're spelling? You're spelling. It's literally a spell. You know what I mean? Think about it. When I read Hebrew, when I read Psalms, there's a difference in the vibration for me. What I've learned to realize, there's a difference in the vibration, the way the words come out. You know what I mean? So I try to be very careful with the words that I use.
No, this is very interesting. I've never thought about this in this way, and I want to understand that more.
You know what I broke down the word addiction? You're a dick. Like that's how I saw it. Mike, you're a dick because you're addicted. You know what I mean?
Oh gosh, yeah.
So like, it's addiction. What is it? It's like you're rewarding yourself. It's habitual. I like habit. A bad habit.
That's a bad habit.
And when I started working on the novel, I started digging into the root of words, and you realize where our vocabulary comes from. It's a farce.
Okay.
A lot of it is a farce meant to trick
In what
us.
way? Like,
just the way I'm saying, the way I've been explaining it. Like, think about it. Have a great weekend. Good morning. Again, like Monday. It's mundane. Why do people fucking hate Mondays? They don't even realize it because it's a mundane Monday. It's mundane. It's boring. It's heavy. It plays tricks with you, man. Labuyut. In Hebrew, it's heart, soul, health. Labuyut to your health. Not be less onto you. You know what I mean? It's fucking twisted.
I have a few thoughts.
I'm sorry, I've only just scratched the surface.
You've just scratched the surface.
I haven't even dug the way I should be. The way I don't like that word. See, Ms. Goldstein, my 7th grade English teacher, never used the word should have, could have, or would have. There's another way to do it,
Okay.
So that stuck with me. May she rest in peace.
But in hypnosis and NLP, you use certain word tricks as well. And I'm wondering, honestly, part of me is like, I want to dismiss it. Like, come on, Monday, mundane, whatever. And I'm wondering, maybe there is something to it, You obviously...
No such thing as coincidence.
Yeah.
Man.
Okay.
You do hypnotherapy?
I do hypnotherapy, yeah.
You administer it?
I'm still training with it, but I've done hypnosis like many times, yeah.
Have you ever read Many Lives, Many Masters?
No.
Get into it. It's about a doctor that does hypnotherapy, but he records people's experiences. And they were going to past lives. And he was healing them in that way. Because,
Through past life regression.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Again, it's hard. I don't know. Does the soul jump? Do we have a soul? Is there a neshama? These are some of the questions.
That's a great question. Yeah. I had this philosophical conversation with one of my best friends the other day. And he was telling me that he has anxiety when he thinks about if he dies, there being nothingness.
Black.
Yeah, just black. It gives him anxiety. And he's like, but I don't really understand why, because I'm not going to be aware of it anyways. Who cares? But it just, the thought of it, freaks him out.
Limbo.
Yeah.
That would be very scary.
But it would be nothing. You wouldn't even be aware of it. It would be like, think about it before you were born.
What if your soul is aware of it? Like physically or not, but what if the soul, if it's real?
But that's what you are, Like,
so wild.
Yeah, that is wild. But anyway, so I told him, I was like, I don't think it's possible. And this could just be like my own naiveness, my own arrogance, but I don't think it's possible for me to literally die and there be nothing. Because if you think about it scientifically, if the world is 13 billion years old and then time is just going to continue. Like it's going to go on for another 13 billion years. Like the odds of me being here in this like little tiny minuscule, like microscopic 100-year, if I even get that period, is like so low. I think it's honestly impossible. I think that like it's meaning the odds of me actually existing would be so low that I think I would just exist beyond this 100 years. It would go on and go on and go on. Like that's one, and I'm not saying it's like a logical thing, but to me, it kind of like proves to me that the soul is immortal, or at least goes beyond this small period of life that we get. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
For sure. But anyway, so Monday mundane. I'm like, I'm fascinated by this now. I've never thought about this before.
Look up the days of the week. They're all different Greek gods.
So what does that mean to you? Like that?
It's German, it's Germanic, it's Greek, it's Babylon. Who creates history? Who creates, right? It's the people from the past, right?
Yeah.
You burn all the books, you can start, what are they teaching us in school? We don't know what the fuck really happened, right? I don't know why. I don't know what their end goal is with that stuff, but we're living during a strange time.
We are. Yeah. I thought you were going to go in a different direction, by the way. With when you were saying you don't like the word addiction, you like the word bad habit. I thought you were going to say it's an empowering thing. Like when people say addiction, it very often it's perceived like an illness, something you don't have control over.
Yeah, I hate when they say it's a disease. Addiction is a disease. No, it's a choice.
Okay.
A disease is when you get cancer, God forbid. Or a disease or something with the skin or whatever.
Right.
But that's self-inflicted. This is completely different.
So you feel it's very within your will. Like that was your personal experience.
The key to getting off of this is willpower. The key to anything. I'm not going to say to anything that's broad, but the key to many things is your willpower. You have to have the will. You have to have self-control. It's difficult. Saying no.
Yeah.
That was a big thing, getting off the opiates, and now with the alcohol. It's still fresh with the alcohol, but I'm ready and I feel really good. It was like shaving my head. I don't have to worry about it anymore. That's it. I made the decision. I shave it, and that's it. It's gone. And I never have to think about a barber. I never have to think about the bald spots. I never have to think about the hair thinning. It's the same with the alcohol now. Wow. I feel so free. I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulder. And our community, what? Is it just our community? Who the fuck doesn't like to drink? What community doesn't like to drink? Right. That's why everyone's, you talk about the Bukharian community. It's not just Bukharians. It's the whole world is on the same path. Everyone likes to drink. Everyone wants to relax. Some people want a beer. Some people need a shot. Everyone has their way. But alcohol is a big part of our society. It's huge.
Yeah, it is.
Alcohol, what is it? It's an evil spirit. In Arabic, it's evil spirit. You go to the store, liquor, wine and liquor, and sometimes you'll see spirits. What do you think that means? Evil spirits. It's fucked up.
Interesting.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
It's a trap. A lot of it is a trap if you let yourself fall down, if you let yourself fall through, if you're not paying attention. It's very easy. It's very, very easy to go that way. We sit for lunch, we drink. Shabbat, we drink. Birthday, we drink. We go on a date, we drink. Lunchtime, we need a break, we drink. Made a nice sale, we drink. It's always there. When does it stop? When does it? Some people are amazing. Some people have self-control. They can have a few shots and they're good. I have so much respect for those people. I admire those people. I don't have that. For me, it's here or here. The key is finding the balance now. I'm starting to learn. I need to find a middle ground. Not that I want to drink again, but like in life in general, just
finding balance.
But I like when I get extreme into a positive thing, it's amazing. It actually catapults me in it, and it's to my benefit.
Right.
So the key is to get rid of the bad habits and focus on the good habits.
Yeah.
And then use the energy I have and the focus that I have and the extremism that I have for good. So it's like a play, It's just drawing up a scheme and just following through with it. And not sometimes, I like to improvise. I love improvisation.
That's the whole point of play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Improving. Anyways, we're gonna run out of time pretty soon, but
we got a lot in.
We got so much in. There's still more I want to talk about.
Go ahead, let's go. I'm not in a rush.
Okay, great.
I just don't know if you're gonna.
I gotta pick up my wife soon. That's the only
There we
yeah.
go. Make sure you put that in the video.
I gotta pick up my wife. Yeah, the old ball and chain.
Duties.
Yeah, you gotta take care of your duties.
Responsibilities.
Yeah, but this brings me back again. This is the third time. It's bringing me back.
Full circle.
Full circle. Yeah. You know, with regards to the expectations of the community to get married.
Fuck expectations.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you. And it's so hard because I feel like there are people that end up getting married and having kids that are not ready.
They're so unhappy.
And yeah, they're miserable. They're absolutely miserable.
Their kids suffer.
Kids for sure. Yeah, 100%. I think for me, I really wanted to get married and I really wanted to have kids. You know, like those, like I felt like it was something I really wanted. Whether I was ready for it or not, I don't know. But I really wanted it. And happens to be, I do think I'm ready for it. But the amount of sacrifice you have to make for a spouse and for a child especially is insane.
It's the ultimate from what I've
100%.
seen. It's the ultimate sacrifice.
Right.
Which is why I feel like I've lived so many lifetimes already, but I feel like I've seen and done nothing because I don't know that sacrifice. Mm. You know? And I used to think having kids was selfish because of the world we live in. Mm. And it's a scary place. Mm. And if you're not good at home, you know, like if the folks aren't good and the parents and like we said earlier about the roots, you know, giving them structure and love and positivity. And I mean, it's so easy to get lost in this world. So for a long time I was afraid and I thought it was very selfish. But now it's like I feel like I have a wealth of knowledge to give and I want to sacrifice myself. Yeah. I want to give. I just want to give. And remember, the more you give, you're actually getting. When you give, you're giving. You're giving and you're giving to yourself. You know, how much younger are you now? And you're still pretty fucking young, but doesn't the kid make you even younger? Right? You see
yes and no, yeah.
Not yet. It's too soon.
Right.
You're still in the infant, like 0 to 3. That's not what I'm talking about.
No, I know what you
when
mean.
Their personality starts to, you're gonna see
100%.
the kid running around, the dumb shit, the funny shit. It's gonna be so fucking cute.
Exactly.
It's gonna
the little noises she makes, the stretches, like absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll tell you also something funny. I never thought before I had a kid, like I didn't understand how people get like lost in their kids, like they get so absorbed. It's like, yo, where did your life go? You know what I mean?
Love.
Yeah, I didn't.
Pure unadulterated love.
100%. Now I get it. I see it. It's like, oh my God, she made this noise. Look at this. You know?
We'll get her on the podcast.
Yeah, right?
And then she's like,
yeah. And then she just screams. She's so cute.
0 to 3, they're so scary. I can't even hold them. They're
scary.
so delicate.
Yeah. You get used to it in like a day.
Yeah.
A day in the hospital, you get used to it.
It freaks me out, man.
Yeah. It freaks me out too.
They're so like, I just, God forbid.
Yeah, absolutely, man. But trust your instincts, man. And,
I feel a lot of really good things coming. I'm letting the light in. As Diana told me this last week. God bless her. She's like, why aren't you letting the light in? You know, like why are you okay with the darkness? You know, why are you so afraid? You know, what are you afraid of? There's nothing to be afraid of. And she's right. Yeah. She was right.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'm having this going well for you.
Which part?
Everything, yeah.
Yeah. Complete 180, man.
That's amazing.
So I hope to give people hope. You know, if anybody is watching this or parents or the kids, man, just choose to live your life. I said this on the other side. Just choose to live your life. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
That is beautiful. Normally at the end, the last question I ask is there anything you would yell from the rooftops if the whole world was listening right now?
Kindness. Be kind.
I love it. Yeah. One more thing I just have to go deep on you with this before we do part 2 about the 10-day retreat.
That's going to be fun. I'm so looking forward to this.
Yeah. I feel like also I only scratched the surface of your story, man. I really
You're not going to get it in. You're not going to get 38 years in an hour and a half.
Exactly.
I gave you, you know.
Like the little pieces. Like I still want to hear your darkest moment in the addiction.
Oof. Yeah. Do we have time?
Yeah, maybe we'll save that for part 2 or something.
Yeah.
But you're already starting to... No, I have to hear it. You're already starting to tear up.
No.
Oh, no?
Am I?
Yeah, you are.
No, I'm okay. No.
Okay, cool.
It was dark, man. It was terrible. I was in... I didn't give a fuck about anything or anyone. It was just about getting high. It was getting my fix. I didn't care about anybody. And I was really... You know, you think you're alone in this world. Your actions don't affect people. But when I come from a really close family. And even if I'm not directly doing it, I'm indirectly hurting them because they love me.
Right.
Right? Yeah, it was terrible, man. Just seeing what I did to my parents, to my siblings. Yeah, I'm still repairing that that divide that's been created, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's not easy. You can forgive, you will never forget. People don't forget.
Right.
They don't. But because we're family and because we're close, you know, you kind of have to get through it. You don't have to, but we're choosing to. You know, they're amazing.
Oh, thank God.
It was dark. It was disgusting, bro. It was horrible. I wasn't exercising. I didn't care. I wasn't praying anymore. I showed up to work whenever I wanted to. Like I didn't care about. It was complete disassociation from myself. I wasn't dreaming anymore. There was no beauty in my life. You know, it was depressing. It was almost suicidal. It was horrible. Man. And I told you what made me want to. It's like, okay, I'm dead right now inside. Inside, I am dead. So I asked, I either kill myself or I choose to live this life. And that was a defining moment, choosing to live this life.
Wow, man.
And not just surviving. I said this on the other podcast, thriving. Because you can thrive. Anyone can thrive. You have to put effort into it. It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of effort. If you want to do something in this world with anything, not just living, effort, non-stop effort. You can't stop. Take a break, go on vacation, sure, but effort, lots and lots of effort. Yeah.
For sure. And I mean, I think you also mentioned, along with the willpower, and you mentioned also that you got the help from the clinic. I think some people, when they hear willpower, they maybe think it's just all on me. And yeah, it's up to you at the end of the day, whether you're putting that substance inside of yourself or not, that you are going to have to make whoever helps you, whoever decides that they're going to be a part of your life and support you. It's literally down to you, whether you're going to drink that next cup or put that next shot in or take that next pill. You know, but I think oftentimes using your willpower to get help and to be able to like open up and say like, hey, I need help. I need, support.
You know, they always say that's 50%.
Right.
I think it's 80%. Admitting you have a problem. Saying, yeah, I have a problem. You can't help somebody who doesn't think they have a problem.
Right.
Who wants to listen to you if they don't think they have a problem?
Right.
You're talking to a wall at that point. Admitting you have a problem is the first step, and then seeking out the help. And you need the tools. Right. You know, it's very, very important. You can't build a house without tools. You can't paint on a canvas without a brush, and you need the tools. You can't play basketball without a ball. You need the tools, right? Strategy. I guess it's just so much.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
It was, man. And one more question. Sorry.
I don't apologize.
Yeah. Another question. We'll save the rest of it for part 2. I mean, you mentioned you got to this point where you were selling the drugs.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know. I want to get into like your consciousness, kind of like where, like if you didn't feel guilty, like selling like.
I didn't sell the. I always.
Oh, you see, you never.
I always. I sold the happy stuff.
Okay.
I never
ecstasy,
the happy shit. Gotcha. I didn't sell. See, that's where I think that's why the creator got mad at me, because towards the end, I was hustling benzos. I started hustling. I broke from my own. What's the word I'm looking for? From my own code, I guess. Gotcha. I broke free. I broke away from that because the money was just.
It's too good there.
I want to provide. That's it.
Gotcha.
I'm going to provide for you. And I started selling opiates a little bit towards the end. And I started selling benzos a little bit towards the end. I was going to get into selling cocaine. I never sold cocaine. And I was going to get into that. I caught my case a month before I was supposed to go to Colombia and meet like some top dog and get into that whole fucking... Can you imagine?
Oh my God.
I'm dead or in jail.
Yeah.
At that point. There's no coming out. You don't get out.
Right.
At that point, you don't get out. How are you going to tell me there isn't a creator? Looked out for me. Looked out for me. Yeah, I got lucky. It was depressing. It was horrible. My parents didn't call me on my birthday. I'm like, something's wrong.
Because of...
They found out that I was hustling towards the end. Literally,
they didn't know you were coming in with $5,000 a night?
I had an apartment in the city they didn't know about. I was with a roommate. Kept all my stuff there. I lived a double, triple, quadruple life.
Dang.
My folks knew nothing. They knew nothing. Absolutely nothing until 2 months before. And then they didn't talk to me once they found out. It was complete. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, no, I was denying it. Oh, you guys are bugging. It's fucked up. The first time I talked to them after 2 months is the phone call from fucking bookings. And I was like, guys, I need you to bail me out. Poor I put them through so much, man. I put them through so much. Yeah. It's fucked up.
So have you forgiven yourself for all the shit that you put them through, that you put yourself through, really?
I had to. Because it was, I became a punching bag because they weren't over it. And so I thought I deserved to take the abuse because I put them through so much. But there just came a point where I was like, guys, I'm not doing anything wrong anymore. I'm living and I'm doing well. Enough. Enough with the discipline. Enough with the chastising. Enough. Like, I don't deserve this anymore. I took it. I took your punches. I get it. I hurt you. I get it. I hurt all of you. But there comes a time where I just couldn't take the mental and physical. It was the verbal and mental abuse. It was too much already. I was like, guys, it's not healthy for me. And if you're not, it's toxicity. Who needs that?
Yeah.
Who needs all that negativity in their life? Mastery. I read the book Mastery, and it talks about getting rid of toxic people in your life. And it really hit home. It was like, wow, get rid of them. What the fuck you need all that for? Keep your circle small if need be, or solitude if need be. Learning how to be with myself was also another thing. That was a huge challenge. Because again, once I became present and in the moment, okay, now you have to deal with yourself. Now you have to live with yourself. You know, for a long time, I couldn't live with myself. I didn't like who I was. I was a very ugly person inside. I hated it. I hated myself, you know, and little by little.
You built that up.
Yeah,
Wow.
it took time. Wow, it's almost 7 years. It's a long time.
Yeah.
It's a long time. But it feels like yesterday, which is when I'm talking to you about all this stuff and bringing it back, it's like, wow.
I feel like I'm with you there.
Yeah. You feel it, right?
You're a really good storyteller.
I'm working on a novel. Shameless plug number 4, 5, and 6. I'll let you guys know when it comes out.
Yeah. I mean, Michael, where can people find you if they want to connect with you?
Take my number down. Put it up on the podcast.
You want me to put it up?
Put it up, yeah.
Okay,
sure.
well.
646-241-4147.
All right.
646-241-4147.
Shameless plug number 8. Yeah, it was great sitting down with you, man. I mean, I feel like we kind of like meshed in like probably what could have been a whole podcast in itself, like the last 10 minutes there.
What's that when you're Cliff Notes? You got the Cliff Notes.
Yeah, we got the
life
Cliff Notes.
of Michael.
Right. Dude, it's a fascinating life and it's still going. I can't wait for the novel to come out.
Thanks, man. Me too.
Yeah, I could be one of your beta readers if you need.
That would be awesome.
For sure.
Trust you. Yeah. Yo, we met just like, how you not going to believe in a creator the way we met?
Dude, I believe in a
Where
creator.
we are today.
Yeah.
I mean, you're...
Right. I mean, this doesn't mean anything really, but whatever.
Yeah, but you know, you're there.
Right,
spiritually. I see it in you. You're a good person. You're
Thank you.
Clean. I don't
Appreciate it.
Yeah. I don't gravitate towards many people the way I trust you. I feel safe
thanks,
around. No, you're a solid guy, man. And I feel a friendship coming in the future. How long do we know each other? 5 minutes? You know? Look where we are already. So I don't believe in accidents.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Me neither. But dude, thank you for coming, man.
Thanks for having me, man. This was great.
I just want to ask you one more time so you could say it. If there was something that you would yell from the rooftops, Michael, in closing here, what would you want everyone in the world to know?
Just love each other. Love each other. And I can't overstate kindness. I'm going to use more than one word. Empathy is huge. Kindness is huge. And love each other. You know, love each other. Be nice to each other. Like, what does it take to be nice? I get it, though. Everyone's wrapped up in their own commotion, in their own lives. And our city is crazy. They don't call it a concrete jungle for nothing. We're trying to live healthy in spite of the madness. You know? And it's a challenge. But I think we're stronger for it because we're doing it. So stay strong, everybody.
I love it. All right, guys. Stay curious. Think for yourself. To the rebellion. Take care.
All right, friends. That is it for my conversation with Mike this week. It was a really fascinating conversation. Share some love in the comments and let me know your favorite part of this episode. I'm very curious to hear from you. Also, please share it with anyone that you find will benefit from this. It really helps me a lot to make sure that this content is getting shared. Make sure that you're followed and subscribed across all platforms. Spotify, YouTube, and Instagram. Additionally, Patreon is available, and to support, you can book a session at the Men's Therapy Studio, link in the description. And now, just to give my reflective thoughts on this episode, first of all, like I said already, Mike was just such a fascinating and honest and real person. We really vibed immediately. And hearing his story, especially how he had come so close with death many times, and his ability to just see God's hand in his life is honestly inspirational. And I think we could take a lot of, inspiration from that to really recognize the beauty of life. Additionally, Mike is a strong reminder of how powerful we can truly be. And, it just blows me away how he was able to overcome addiction and overcome such a lifestyle. It blows my mind, and it's an inspiration, and I hope that you take that same inspiration from it. Like, we're very often so much more capable than we believe we are. And it's at the same time very sad, because I know that drugs have been and probably continues to be a very serious issue in the Bukharian community. And thank God recently I haven't heard much about it, but that's just my anecdotal experience. When just like a few years ago, I had a friend that passed away. And like I said, again, I know a few people that have been struggling with an opiate addiction in the Bukharian community. And it's something that I want to explore, I want to understand, and I want to create something to help the Bukharian community and honestly people in general. But it's my community, and I feel maybe more of a push and an obligation, especially as a mental health professional, to do something for the community, to understand why this is happening, and to, like I said, create something. And I didn't come into this with a clear idea of what that would be or what that would look like, but it's definitely something that I want to explore and continue to explore. So if you're an expert or know anybody that has a similarly inspirational story or some ideas of what we could do to create some type of Bukharian mental health initiative, or just get deeper understanding of the drug epidemic and why it's happening in our community. And just to say, from my perspective, I believe that most of the time, probably close to 100% of the time, but the reason that people are turning to these substances is because the present moment is just so unbearable. They are in pain, and they're self-medicating through these substances. And Mike said that, for him and his friends, it was just, they were bored, they were trying to have a good time. And, that's his experience. I'm not going to, say that that's not true. But I think that for the vast majority of cases, it's truly to escape the pain of the present moment. And that to me is very sad. This is my community, the Bukharian community. Like, why is it that life just becomes so difficult and overwhelming for them that they go off? So, like I said, if you want to explore this issue with me on the podcast, and you have some ideas, or a good, like a story like Mike's that you'd like to share, please reach out, and I'm curious to hear from you. Anyways, guys, stay curious. You're more capable than you think you are. Think for yourself, and to their own value.